Hi to all my Flosstube friends. I hope you all had a great and Merry Christmas. We did. I told you in the last video that we were headed out of town. We went to Greenville. It's across the state. It's about 3 hours away. And we saw my dad. He's doing okay. He remembered who I was, so that's good. He gave me a hug and he called me by my name, so I knew he knew who I was. He's gone downhill that fast, unfortunately. He remembered Christmas pie. He was all excited about that. I opened up the Tupperware dish and showed it to him. He's all like, oh, Christmas pie. I remember that. So that was sweet. So I'm so glad for that. So he had his Christmas pie, and the facility was getting ready to do their Christmas party. So I didn't stay for too long since they were going to have Christmas party and things like that. We originally had planned to stay with my mom that night, and after seeing my dad, we went to see my husband's parents. We met them for lunch, so we had lunch with them. We were going to stay the night with my mom and hang there, and then take off Thursday morning and go to Pennsylvania. But then there's like all these reports about needing to avoid travel on Thursday, and we're like, that's more traveling. So we said, okay, never mind, we'll go ahead and leave out on Wednesday. So we ended up having Christmas with Mom real quick, and then we took off about 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that, and drove through. So didn't have much light for stitching while traveling to Pennsylvania. I thought I was gonna have like all day Thursday. Well, that didn't happen, but that's okay. That's life, ever changing. So as we're driving in North Carolina and in Virginia, there were signs posted on the roadway, those emergency billboards that light up and tell you different warnings and stuff like that. They were like all over the place saying, warning, avoid travel on Thursday. And we're like, okay, good thing we decided to do that. So we got to Pennsylvania. It was late. It was about, 11:30, something like that. And I got some pictures of Beau traveling and all that kind of fun things I'll put on here in just a few moments. Of course, I was there in Pennsylvania for the wonderful winter storm of that came across the east or the northeast or whatever. I don't know. The big storm that came across the country at any rate. We ended up having temperatures in like the teens and single digits even, and the feel likes were in the negative. I'm a girl from South Carolina on the beach. I'm not used to those cold temperatures. It was horrible. And the high winds on top of that. The winds were going like 20 to 30 miles per hour, just whipping through you. And it was not a good time. Well, on Thursday it wasn't bad because we actually got snow. I'm going to go ahead and put in some pictures here of Beau. Give me just a moment. So here is Beau's first snow. So here's a couple pictures of him playing in the snow and being in the snow, eating the snow. And here's a picture of him in the truck. I kept teasing him, saying he was the big boy in the big boy truck, since my husband has it's a 1500 Ram. It's not that huge or anything, but it's jacked up a little bit. I mean, I gotta like pull myself up into it. It's jacked up a little bit, so it's like a big boy in the big boy truck. Let's see, and then there was my son has 2 cats, so he got introduced to 2 cats. The first one here, this is Kukui. And she was not happy with Beau at all. She did not warm up to him, did not want anything to do with him, was not happy. The other cat is Lily, and she would touch noses with him, but that's as close as she wanted to get. And then here he had stolen my husband's shoe. Usually he steals socks, but this time he stole a shoe. So I was like, is that yours? Are you supposed to have that? And that's why he had that little guilty look on his face, like, I'm not supposed to have a shoe. And then here's just a few other pictures of him from today. I had a friend ask for some pictures of him, so I took some pictures of him today. But he, since he's outside right now with my husband, I'm going to just let him be outside. So he's not going to come say hello in this video. On Thursday or Friday, I am horrible with backwards time. It's just like it happened in the past. That's it. I am horrible at saying it happened on this date. It happened on this day of the week. I am horrible about past time. And so one of the days we were there, it was either Thursday or Friday. We went to the Dutch market, the Penn State Dutch market, and they've got all kinds of, we bought popcorn. We go through a lot of popcorn, my husband and I, and they had like these big, huge bags. They're like this big, like massive, I don't know, they're probably like 3 or 4 pounds of popcorn. And we go through that in about 2 months. So, but we bought, but it's like that huge bag is only like $3. It's like ridiculously cheap. So we bought 3 bags of popcorn, and then we bought some sweet breads and some cheesy bread. We're having grilled cheese sandwiches on garlic cheese bread tonight for dinner. I'm really cooking it up today. We had a great time there and was going around the Dutch market and was buying some different things. And I get up to the checkout, to the cashier, and she looks at me and goes, do I need to give you a senior discount? I'm like, what? Not yet. And she goes, well, and my son was joking with me because yeah, they give out senior discounts to people who are 48 now. And she looks at me, and she looks at my son, and she looks back at me again, and she goes, well, you're over 48. I'm like, seriously? Wow. And I was like, yeah, I'm 50. And she looks at me for a minute, and like she's waiting for me to like add to that. No, woman, I am 50 years old. And I'm like, goodness gracious. And so we leave, and my son and his wife Mackenzie, they're like, wow, that was like so rude. I'm like, yeah. And of course it made me feel horrible. I guess I look like I'm ancient now all of a sudden. I look like I'm over my age of 50. 50 is old enough. I'm still adjusting to that. And yet here they are trying to say that I'm older than 50 years old. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. I was so heartbroken. So later I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, well, I guess we're going to need to budget Botox into next year's budget because I look that old. I'm already 6 years older than him, so I'm already kind of conscientious about that. And then here they are telling me that I'm old. Yeah, but I'm not going to let it get to me. And I'm not going to get Botox. I was just joking about that. I'm not that vain. I look the way I look. My husband loves me, and oh well. I don't know. But I could not believe that woman did that. How totally rude. I don't know. Some people. So while we were there in Pennsylvania, we get a phone call from my husband's mother telling us that his father's in the hospital. We're like, what in the world is going on around here? Totally blindsided us. We were about ready to jump in the vehicle and come back, but of course we'd have to drive through all that bad weather. I think that was like on Friday, and it was like still bad weather, and we're like, okay, guess we're gonna have to suck it up and do this, you know. And they're like, well, he's in the hospital. We're still trying to find out information. Don't change your plans yet. ends up that he got to come home on Saturday, and we left. So we had Christmas early. We had Christmas with the kids on Saturday instead of Sunday. And we're like, we're just going to drive home on Sunday. We'll leave a day early. No one's going to be on the roads on Sunday. We can stop off and see his dad and get there. So we did that. And no traffic at all. Nobody else was traveling on Christmas Day. So it was really nice. And then yesterday, I'm told that the roads were just horrible. My tomorrow bride contacted me today and was like, oh yeah, we finally got to Charleston late last night. Our 5-hour trip took us 12 because of the traffic. And I was like, well, good thing we did decide to come home on Christmas Day instead of waiting to the next day, because that would have been miserable. Oh my goodness. My only stitching gift was this. And that is, let me see, I'll open it down here, I guess. Okay. And it is a nice little case, obviously, with a new glue gun. So I'm excited about that. Now I can get some more finishing stuff done. My other glue gun didn't have the small tip on it. So this one has a smaller tip, so I'll be able to get in there, make smaller amounts of the glue dots and stuff for doing that. So that will be awesome. And what we're going to do is let's start with what I've stitched on, and since the last video, and then we'll go on to transition into my year in review. So I've got finishes. Everything I'm showing you is finishes, so I'm excited about that. I'm like, on some of these things. So the first one is my design, and it will be on the website later this week, first of next week. But it is called Tulip and Bee. Let me get it in there. So I'm not sure how well that design is showing up. I should have put it on the 14 count aida instead of the 18 count, and then it would show up a lot better for this. But I have that finish. And I did one of the cupcakes from the Durene Jones. I don't have it over here. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that bed behind me. Just cover it up. The Year in Cupcakes that I showed you last video. And I got one of the cupcakes done. This was my February one, so I'm glad that I've got it done. I don't know if it'll be finished in time, depending on what finish I decide on. But I just put it on a 14 count hand-dyed DMC. So there that is. But I thought that turned out real cute. And then just this morning, I finished January. So I'm glad to see that it is done. So I will have that FFO'd by the next video, for sure. So all of it is the call for it, except for the wording. I'm going to say 4510. I don't know, it's across the room. Yeah, I think it was DMC 4510. The colors, I think. At any rate, I did change that into a variegated. Other than that, it is all the called for threads. So 3 finishes, 2 starts and 3 finishes. So, but the starts and finishes were the 2 smalls, and then that. So that's cool. So I'm excited to finally have January done. that was just one of them projects. I've been working on it so much over the last few weeks, trying to get it complete by January, that now I'm just like so glad that it's over. And I, I like those projects when you're like stitching them and you're enjoying the stitching so much that when you're done, you're like, yay, I'm done. But I miss it. I loved that stitch. I enjoyed that stitch so much that I'm almost sad that I'm done with it. And I love those projects. This one wasn't one of those. This one, probably just because I worked on it too much, but too fast. And it's like, now I'm just like, oh my God, thank God I don't have to look at January again. And I'm not doing well. We'll talk about future plans on my next video. I'm going to try my best not to talk about future plans on here. Haul. I don't have much haul. I've treated myself to the cord maker thing for finishing that Bonna shows on her videos. So I did treat myself to that. And then I had purchased, as part of my next year's plans, but I did purchase the stuff. I purchased the threads because they were some specialty threads. Or a couple of them are. So I wanted to make sure I had them. And these is called Rose Garden. And then this one here. I needed 3 of these, so I wanted to get them together. And then this one. And these threads are for the Christmas Santa. Christmas Eve Santa. There we go. Getting a little bit of a glare on there. I love that pattern so much. I want to have it done for next year. But I decided to put them on this fabric. So I purchased this fabric. It is a 28 count. You read it. It's probably the best way, because I'd be trying to remember. It is, picture this, plus 28 count light cashel linen, cotton twill, count twill. So I guess the color is twill, but I'm wanting to put Santa Claus on that fabric. I think it'll look awesome. I'm so excited. So I've got my threads pulled, but I don't have them on drops yet or anything. So it's still in the process of being kitted up, but I had to at least get the supplies to kit it up. So I did that. And I got the quarter. And that's it for my haul. That's part of the next year's plans. I'm going to try my best to do this. Stitch my stash, stitch your stash, however they're wording it. But basically, most of my stitching needs to happen from the patterns I already purchased, the fabric I already have, and that kind of thing. If I need a thread, then fine, I'll get the threads. I don't care about threads. But I at least want to work off of the patterns I have and the fabric I have are the big key things. I've got so many. Let's start working through the stash, and I'm going to limit myself to purchases. I'm going to say not buy any patterns until at least March. March, I know they have that market. So March might tempt me a little bit. My birthday is the end of April, so April might be a dangerous month. But other than that, I'm going to try my best not to spend money on anything. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to go over we're going to go to my year in review. We're going to start with the FFOs, newest to oldest. Let me get it right. Newest to oldest. I wrote it down so I wouldn't say it wrong, and I still said it wrong. But FFOs, newest to oldest. So the first one, or the most recent one, is going to be Mrs. Claus Bakery by Stitching with the Housewives, stitched on natural white dot 18 count Aida by Stitched Modern, finished on matboard and hung on the gingerbread people that came from Hobby Lobby. And I finished that in December. And when I say finished, I mean like FFO'd finished. I think, I don't know, I'll keep myself intact as we go through. The next one is Kenzies Treats, which is my own creation. 18 count marble Aida, finished with hemming tape and a copper wire, and then onto the mini roller that I got from Still Stitching with Susan Greening Davis, and that was finished in December, and she did love it. She immediately ran over and hung it up on her refrigerator, so she did love that, so that's awesome. My angel ornament from Winter Petites by Little House Needleworks, 14 count dyed Aida, finished in a tart ornament from Hobby Lobby, and I finished that in December. The reindeer ornament, Winter Petite, finished on a wood-shaped ornament from Dollar Tree with the little wood beads, came from Hobby Lobby. And I finished that in December. My Christmas time from Sage Butterfly Designs. That was the sal that we did, and I put mine on 18 count oatmeal Aida. I framed it in a Michaels frame, finished it in November, and Trey and Mackenzie, when I gave it to them, immediately placed it on a shelf with their other Christmas decorations, so they loved it. Fairy of the Rain by Joan Elliott Designs. It was stitched on Pole Stitches Stormy Skies, 28 count Lugana. I finished stitching it in August and framed it in November in a Michaels frame. Month to Month November by Stitching with the Housewives, stitched on a 32 count Bam board gingham by Stitch to Modern, finished with some autumn fabric from Walmart and a wooden barn from Fat Quarter Shop, and I FFO'd it in the end of October. Christmas ornaments. I stitched these over 10 years ago and discovered them when I was organizing some things. I sent these to the vintage stitcher, Artie, and had her finish them. I received them back in plenty of time to give them to my brother and his wife for Christmas. Hocus Pocus by Caterpillar Designs was part of a quarterly kit. Completed the stitching in October, sent it over to the vintage stitcher for the FFO, and received that back in November. Boo by Fat Quarter Shop's Free Designs Boo Crew. I did customize it to just Boo, and then I stitched it on a dyed 14 count Aida, finished stitching it in September, and sent it to the vintage stitcher for the FFO, and got it back in November. My retreat stitch from a class by Susan Greening Davis, and the FFO with supplies from the class was done at the retreat in October. 3 Pumpkins by Sage Butterfly Design, stitched on 14 count dyed Aida, frame from AC Moore, and that was done in October. Little Halloween by Sweetheart Tree, stitched on linen from Stash, finished on a galvanized steel hanging from Dollar Tree, and that was finished in September. I believe I FFO'd it in October. Cat in a Hat, which was a free design from Sullivan's, stitched on 14 count white. Covered up a Dollar Tree sign for this one with fabric, also Dollar Tree fabric, I believe. It might be Walmart, but I think it was Dollar Tree fabric. For the finish in October, I finished stitching in September, and I think I did the FFO in October. we have Delilah, and I still need to paint this frame. It's on my list for this week. It was a Millhouse bead kit, and I finished it in September, and I FFO'd it in September. 4 Flamingos by Peppermint Purple, stitched on a 14 count dyed Aida, framed in a frame from AC Moore, and I finished that in May, and I gave that to my mom for Christmas. She loved it. So that's all my FFOs. I do have some my whips, but we've gone over my whips in previous videos, and I also mentioned them again in my planning video because I talk about how my plans for them in 2023. So I don't want to like show them all to you and then turn around and show them all to you again next video. So I'm just gonna I doubt I'm gonna do much work on them in the next few days. So I'll just wait and show those to you in the next video. But before 2022, I was a monogamous stitcher, and the only whip carry-in for 2022 was Fairy of the Rain. And I had started that in August or September of the year before, and then carried it in. And that's the only carry-in I had. So having 16 or 17, however many there were, I didn't even count them, in 1 year is crazy to me. And it's like, wow, I got so much done. That's crazy. It's like, I thought having multiple whips, I'd get less done, but I'm not. I'm actually getting a lot done. So that's good. So my next video will be with the 2023 plans that include the whips as well as what I plan to start. It's probably gonna be a little bit longer of a video. I might get it done before the first of the year, but it might be next. I've got 4 weddings these next 4 days. So I've got one on the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. So between those weddings and everything, it's probably going to be next week before I get my 2023 plans video up. But I'm going to try to do it before that. I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. So I'm not going to promise it out. But I'll do the best I can. So until then, I'm just going to say it's going to be the new year and say, I hope everybody has a safe and happy new year. And I will see you after that and with all of my plans. So I've been making plans and kitting things up and ready for this. So I hope all of you are having a wonderful stitchy time. Hopefully you are enjoying some downtime. And I will see you all within the next week. Have a great day and have fun stitching. Bye.